welcome to Hands On with Saberduelgaming. This is the show where I get hands-on, and yes, you get to see my actual hands for those that want to. I get hands-on with some of my gaming memorabilia, some of my games, and some of the other merchandise that links to that. And in case you hadn't figured it out, today's theme is Street Fighter. So, yes, we are looking at the Street Fighter series and the merchandise and stuff I have linked to it. And I think probably the easiest place to start is with Street Fighter 6, the newest in the franchise. I'm going to be entirely honest with you. I haven't played this yet. I know, I got it for Christmas, and it was sort of the impetus, the thing that gave momentum to this as an idea for a hands-on. This was a present I got for Christmas off a friend of mine, which I am very much looking forward to playing. But yeah, literally have not been able to load this up to my PlayStation yet because I had to free up space for games. I have done that now, so hopefully that will happen soon. So I can't tell you how good this game is, but hopefully the answer is very. But we will find out soon right here on Saberduelgaming. But I do like the box art. That's really quite cool looking. I love the sort of comic book style art on the back. It's just class. I'm going to try and space out the actual games a little bit. But this is probably one of the coolest little collections of gaming merchandise I have. This is an 8-part comic book series, which I collected myself at the ripe old age of 14. As you can see, this was back in 1994. This was released in September, this one. I don't have the stickers, unfortunately. That's tragic. But this was an adaptation of the Street Fighter 2 manga. This was re-released over here in the UK. This was around the time after Super Street Fighter 2 had been released. As you can see, the art style in this is very manga. This particular one is missing the poster from inside because I believe that one made it onto the wall in my room. But some of them still have the fight posters inside. They show about a character's name, date of birth, height, weight, blood type, likes and dislikes, a little bio about them, special moves. And they sort of focus on whatever was one of the key fights in that particular comic. These were a series of comics I got when I was already interested in collecting comic books in general. Most of the comics I collected were the Marvel comics, especially like the X-Men was sort of my go-to. But at the same time, I was also very much a fan of Street Fighter 2. And I think I'd probably, by this point, just got Street Fighter 2 on the SNES. I might have had a copy of Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I certainly didn't have Super Street Fighter 2. In fact, I don't think I ever had an original copy of that. It's a very unpleasant picture of E Honda. Cool one of Dalsim. But as a story, this was really quite cool. It didn't fit into the standard cliche of good and bad. It allowed its characters to have a bit more depth. As a story, it was really quite cool. There was a fight early on between Ryu and Balrog, where Balrog was sort of a criminal, and after Ryu beats him, one of Balrog's bosses, henchmen, that's a cool picture. One of Balrog's henchmen actually went, and there's these cool little bits at the bottom as well about each character, went to try and shoot Ryu, and Balrog actually stopped them, saying the honor was in the fight or something like that. So even though he was a criminal, he was, not going to let his opponent be killed. But yeah, this was such a really fun series of comics that I really enjoyed. The fact that I've kept them all this time, you're talking 30 years now, and I still have these comics more or less intact, I suppose says a lot about them. This was the big finale. There was actually 2 more comics, but we'll look at them in a little bit. There's something separate. And there is your big finale. Of course, like it was ever going to come down to anyone else. But yeah, so there we have it. The Street Fighter 2 8-part comic book series, as it was released in the UK in 1994. We then come on to the next game, and this was the only Street Fighter game I ever had on the Xbox 360. I genuinely thought that the Street Fighter 2 game series, the Street Fighter 2 series of games, was really where it peaked. I did play some of the other games, but I never really felt them in the same way as I did the Street Fighter 2 ones on the 16-bit consoles. That said, this game was still a lot of fun to play. Street Fighter 4. Again, do you remember this? When games had little instruction books in. Oh, back in the good old days. I loved the art style on this box. And the fact that it came in this little cardboard sleeve and it does have a slightly 3D print there was just such a nice touch. Whilst I probably don't hold the game to the same esteem as I do the earlier Street Fighter 2 games, this the way it looks, the art, the style, that slight print, the cardboard is so cool, and it's one of the reasons I've always kept this game. Something different, and it's inevitable. When I do these, a lot of times you're going to see Funko Pops. I am a big collector of Funko. I say big collector of Funko Pops. I know there are some people out there that have hundreds of them, so by their standards, no, I'm not, but I do like them. And this is the only Street Fighter 2, but the only Street Fighter Funko Pop I have. It is Ken Masters. It is my favorite character from Street Fighter. It was inevitable I was going to get him. Obviously, having Ryu would have been cool. If they had Cammy, potentially, I would have got her, with her being the only English character from the original games. But yeah, it's just a really cool character. It's so iconic looking, even though it's such a basic look, as only Funko Pops usually are. You just can't mistake that mop of yellow hair, blue eyes, the red gi. It's just Ken all over, and it's just an awesome little Funko Pop. The final game I have to show you is Street Fighter, the Anniversary Collection on the Xbox. I know it's quite strange that I don't actually have any of the SNES games, or even any of the other ones, really. I do have those games, but they're all down. I have multiple copies of them downloaded to the Nintendo Wii, the Switch, etc. This is the only version I have of some of those earlier games on an actual set pack in physical media. But this is a particularly cool set. This is more than just a game. Obviously, as you can see, we have a few different versions of the game. But what this also includes, as you can see here, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. The full movie is on this, which is just really, really cool. It is there on that same disc. Again, we have our little booklet. Oh, I miss booklets. Let me see which characters you have. Yeah, I miss booklets in games so much. I know, environments and stuff, I understand. I don't care. I'm still allowed to miss them. But yeah, the fact that this included the animated movie is really cool. Bit of a shout out to Razza is Retro. I know he referenced that movie when we did our podcast talking about Street Fighter 2. It's pretty awesome. And lastly, I told you there was 2 more comics. There they are. So it is the same series of comics, as you can see. This one was released a little bit later on, though. This was May 1995. Well, to be fair, the last one in the other series was April, so it was literally the next month. It just continued. 95p. Blimmin' heck. So this was number 9. So right after that 8-part one, they then did a 2-part comic book adaptation of the Street Fighter movie. And if you haven't seen the movie, I encourage you to check it out. It's special. It's a masterpiece of bizarreness. The art style in this is now completely different. But interestingly enough, the art style in this probably veers halfway between the movie and the game. They probably make the characters look a little bit more like the game than the movie does. There's a cool still from the movie. Yeah, Vega with his claws. Some cool bits there. This was you can see on the back here, it did actually come with some of these collector cards. I think I had that one, actually. But yeah, haven't got any of those left, unfortunately. And then there's this second part. There's Chun-Li and Cammy, because, of course, the best person to play an English character was an Australian. Literally just the other side of the world. But anyway, never mind. That's awful art. That's terrible. That's Blanca. Oh, my word. But yeah, this then covers the movie in one storyline. We've got another poster here. There's Guile with Cammy and T-Hawk, apparently. God knows how. Yeah. And that's where that one wraps up. And there we have it. That is hands-on with Saberduelgaming. Looking at some of my Street Fighter merchandise. Normally there's a much more wide-ranging variety of merchandise and a few less actual games, but I'll be honest, I just wanted an excuse to show off the comics. I really love those comics. I think they're so cool. Such a cool piece of retro merchandise that I really wanted to show them off. So obviously I had the Ken Funko. The rest of it is just older games and a new game. So not the most wide-ranging hands-on, but I think you'll agree, worth it just to see those comics. Thank you so much for checking this out. I really appreciate it. Do you have any Street Fighter merchandise? If you have, comment below. Let me know what you got. You know, I always like to hear about your own merchandise, and I guarantee you I'll respond if you post something about it. Also, what's your favorite Street Fighter game? Who's your favorite Street Fighter character? Interact. Let me know. And if you've got ideas of things you'd like to see me do going forward on Saberduelgaming, just comment below. I will guarantee I will take it under advisement. Till next time, have a great night, have a great week, and take the high ground.